Bro, listen up. If you are not where you want to be right now, I've got bad news and good news for you in one package. The bad news, it's not going to get easier. The good news, that's exactly how it's supposed to be, man. And in a minute, you'll understand why this is actually the best news you'll hear today. This is For Men Mastery. No sugarcoating here, just straight talk. Let's go, bro. When you've got a goal you've locked in for yourself, and right now you are not where you want to be, man, the path to that goal only runs through difficulty. Only through it. There is no other way. There never was, and there never will be. Not for you, not for me, not for that guy you are looking at on Instagram right now, thinking his life is somehow easier. That's a good thing, man. That's actually good news. Because the most important thing, is to create difficulty for yourself by setting goals, by creating tension between where you are now and where you want to be. That tension is fuel. Without it, you are just standing still and calling it stability. And this path to becoming who you want to become, it runs through overcoming a chain of difficulties. Through overcoming a chain of difficulties in developing yourself. Through overcoming a chain of difficulties in staying resilient under stress, hauling all the grind you have to carry every single day, a chain of difficulties in sharpening your skills, a chain of difficulties in pushing through business problems, a chain of difficulties in continuing to act with no results to show for it. A chain of difficulties in continuing to act when the people around you don't believe in you. When your family looks at you and says, "Bro, what are you even doing this time? What's the point? When are you finally going to get a normal life?" A chain of difficulties, man. Let's stop here for a second. Because this is the key idea, and most people let it fly right past them. Creating difficulty for yourself isn't about making life harder just for the sake of it. This isn't masochism, man. It's about you, voluntarily, choosing a bar for yourself that's higher than the one you are comfortable standing on. You are the one saying, "This is where I want to be a year from now." And that very act creates distance. And distance is difficulty. Most people are afraid of that distance. They look at the gap between where I am and where I want to be, and instead of stepping into it, they shrink the goal. They tell themselves, "Okay, forget 1,000,000, let's say 100,000. Forget the marathon, let's just jog to the pole and back." And you know what happens? The distance disappears, and with it, the difficulty disappears. And with the difficulty, the growth disappears too, man. That's why I say, create the difficulty yourself. Set the bar where it's uncomfortable, because discomfort is the only honest sign that you are actually moving somewhere. Look, I didn't just list those types of difficulty for no reason. Each one is its own separate war, with its own rules. Difficulty in developing yourself. This is when you sit down to read, to learn, to dig into a subject, and your brain screams, "I want it easier. I want something familiar. I want the couch." And you either listen to your brain, or you push through it. Difficulty in staying resilient under stress. This is grind that shows up with no warning. A client bails, a partner lets you down, an order falls through. And you have to carry all of that grind, not tomorrow, not whenever you are in the mood, but today, right now, because life doesn't ask whether you are ready. Difficulty in sharpening your skills. This is the sneakiest one. You are already pretty decent, but between pretty decent and elite, there is a canyon, and nobody's going to cross it for you. Just you, just your hands, just 1,000 reps that nobody will ever see. Difficulty in business. No comment needed here, man. If you are in it, you already know. Cash flow gaps, contractors screwing up, the market shifting, competitors pushing in. That's the baseline, not an emergency. Difficulty in acting without results. This one might be the dirtiest of them all. You grind for a month, 2, 3, and the numbers don't move. And this is where it's decided who you really are. Because acting when there are results, that's not an achievement, that's just pleasant. Acting when there are no results, that's character. Difficulty in acting when the people around you don't believe in you. Family, friends, someone close to you looks at you and says, "Bro, come on, how long is this going to go on? Get into something normal already." And this one hits the hardest, because these aren't strangers, these are your people. And you have to keep going, even when here is no support coming from anywhere. All of this together, that's the actual path. Not one leap, but a chain, man. One difficulty closes, the next one opens. That's how it's always been, and that's how it'll always be, for as long as you are growing. This path only runs through a chain of difficulties, bro. And that's why the most important thing is to create difficulty for yourself by setting a new level on your own and moving toward it. Because if you don't do that, life will throw its own difficulties at you. And here, man, is where it gets interesting. Let's break down how these difficulties differ. But those won't be the difficulties you want, because those difficulties will lead you nowhere. Those are difficulties of the moment. Difficulties where you are bailing water out of a leaky trough you are floating in. That's the kind of difficulty I mean, man. The grind of life. Debts that need to be paid off. Grind at work that goes back and forth and, in reality, goes nowhere. Fines that hit because you forgot something. Fights that repeat in a loop because you never actually worked through them once, for real. A hole in the budget that reappears every single month because there is no system, just constant firefighting. You see the difference, man. One kind of difficulty is digging a tunnel toward the light. The other is bailing water just so you don't sink where you are standing. Both take effort. Both wear you out. But the outcome is different. In the first case, you reach a new level. In the second, you just don't sink. You stay exactly where you were. That's why choosing your difficulties isn't a whim or a luxury. It's a strategic decision. Either you choose your own difficulties and they carry you forward, or you drift with the current and the difficulties choose you and they lead you nowhere, in circles, year after year. And here's the key idea this whole video is built around, man. Life is going to be hard, one way or another. You need to drill this into your head once and for all. There is no easy version. There is no version of reality where you just sit there, and there is no difficulty at all. Not for the millionaire, not for the monk, not for that guy who seems like he never stresses about anything. The question isn't whether there will be difficulty. The question is what kind of difficulty it'll be. Difficulty of growth. The kind you chose yourself, the kind that pulls you forward toward a goal, toward a new level. Or difficulty of survival, the kind that shows up because you never took control and now you are just putting out whatever's on fire. And here is a second question, just as important. Where are you going, and how are you enjoying the moment along the way? This is the most important part, man. Because you can be chasing a great goal and still be miserable and burned out every single day. Or you can chase that same goal and enjoy the process, enjoy being in the game, enjoy growing, treat every day as a round you chose to step into. Okay, man, let's get into it. What do you do with this starting today? First, lock in a goal that genuinely makes you uncomfortable. Not the would-be nice kind, the kind that makes your stomach drop. If it's uncomfortable, that means here is distance. That means here is room to grow. Second, split your difficulties into two camps. Grab a piece of paper, seriously, pause the video right now and do this. On the left, difficulties of growth, the ones leading you to your goal. On the right, difficulties of survival, the leaks in the trough you keep bailing out over and over. And be honest about how much of your time and energy is going into that right-hand column. Third, start closing the leaks in the trough systematically, not heroically. Debt. Don't carry it silently. Make a plan and pay it down in pieces. Recurring grind at work. Dig into the root cause once, instead of patching the symptom every single week. The idea is simple. The less energy you spend patching leaks, the more you have left to move forward. Fourth, accept this as fact. Outside support might not be there. Family might not understand. Friends might tap their temple and give you that look. That's not a sign to stop. It's part of the route. You don't owe anyone a convincing argument, man. You owe it to yourself to keep going. Fifth, every day, look for the enjoyment. Not after you hit the goal, right now, in the process. In the simple fact that you are someone who chooses difficulties of growth instead of drifting with the current. That alone is reason enough to respect yourself. Let me tell you something, man, so this sinks in deeper than just your head. Picture two guys, same starting point, same opportunities. Same neighborhood, same family, same amount of money in their pocket at the start, roughly equal conditions, okay? The first one sets a goal. He says, in 3 years I want my own business, my own income, my own level. And from that moment on, a chain of difficulty begins for him. He reads things he never used to read. He spends time around people who make him feel small, and that's uncomfortable, man. Genuinely uncomfortable, being the weakest person in the room. He puts money into learning, even though he doesn't have much to spare. He gets rejected once, twice, 5 times, 20 times. He hears from his family, "What exactly are you even doing? Figure your life out already." He keeps going. The second one doesn't set anything. He tells himself, "Why complicate things? Life's fine as it is." He doesn't create difficulty for himself, but life doesn't tolerate a vacuum, man. So life starts throwing its own difficulties at him. Small ones at first, not enough money to make it to payday. Then bigger. He takes a loan to patch the hole. Then bigger still. Loan on top of loan. Grind at work because there is no growth, no skills, nothing of value he could sell for more. He's putting in energy too, carrying grind every day too. It's just that his grind leads him nowhere. It just keeps him afloat. 5 years pass. Both of them put in roughly the same amount of effort, nerves, and time, but one of them is now where he was heading. The other is exactly where he started, just more exhausted and carrying more debt. The difference isn't the amount of difficulty, man. Both of them had plenty. The difference is what kind of difficulty it was. The kind that digs a tunnel or the kind that bails water. That's the whole secret, bro. No magic to it, just a choice about which kind of difficulty you carry. Which raises the question. If it's this obvious, why does most people choose the second path? Why not set the bar, create the tension, and just go for it? The answer is simple and uncomfortable, man. Because growth difficulty pays out on a delay. You put in the work today, and the payoff comes months, sometimes years later. The brain doesn't like that trade. The brain wants dopamine right now. Survival difficulty, on the other hand, at least offers the illusion of immediate relief. Patch the budget hole with a loan, feels better instantly. Blow up at your partner instead of actually working through the problem. The tension drops for a moment. Easier in the short term. The hole just gets deeper in the long term, and that's the trap, man. People don't choose this because they're stupid. They choose it because the brain is wired for immediate relief, not for a strategy that pays off years down the line. And whoever understands this gets a real advantage. The ability to tolerate discomfort now for a result later. That's not a talent you are born with. It's a skill. Trainable, like a muscle. Here's another way to look at it, man. Think of grind as currency. You got a certain amount of energy in a day that you can spend on pushing through difficulty. Not unlimited, man. Finite. And there is only one real question. What are you spending that currency on? If you spend it patching old leaks, arguments that repeat for the third time, fires you created yourself through inaction, grind that only exists because there is no basic system in place, that currency burns off completely. It doesn't compound. Tomorrow you'll have to spend the exact same amount of energy on the exact same leak. But if you spend that currency on growth difficulty, a new skill, a hard conversation that moves a relationship to a new level, a business decision that closes a problem for good instead of just once, that currency compounds. It keeps working for you even while you sleep. A skill you sharpened once serves you for years. A system you built once saves you grind every single month going forward. That's why it matters so much where you direct your chain of difficulties, man. Not how much you are carrying, what it turns into. Reality, of course, isn't as clean as the story about the two guys, man. For most of us, growth difficulty and survival difficulty run at the same time. You are trying to build a business and digging out of old debt at the same time. You are trying to sharpen your skills and carrying grind at your current job at the same time because you can't quit it yet. So what do you do in that situation? Here is the principle, bro. Don't wait to clear out every survival difficulty before you start on growth difficulty. You'll wait forever because a leaky trough will always find a new leak. Instead, cut survival difficulty down to a manageable minimum, and from day one, put a portion of your energy into growth difficulty in parallel, even if it's just 1 hour a day, even if it feels like a drop in the ocean, because there will always be water in the trough, man. The question is whether you are rowing toward shore at the same time or just bailing water and standing still. Listen, man, I am not saying any of this because I read it in some smart book somewhere. I am saying it because I am going through it myself, and I'll keep going through it, because the moment you stop setting new levels for yourself, life immediately hands you the same old problems in new wrapping. And your family, saying, "What the hell have you gotten yourself into this time?" They're not your enemy. They just don't see the same horizon you see. They're looking at you through the lens of their own experience. their own fears, their own idea of what normal means. And for them, normal means stable, predictable, no risk. You chose a different path, and that scares the people around you because your trajectory doesn't fit their frame of reference. That's normal, man. Don't waste energy trying to convince every single one of them. Your job isn't to prove you are right. Your job is to get to where you want to be, and then the questions stop on their own. People don't argue with results. They argue with process because the process is unfamiliar and uncomfortable to them. And once the result shows up, most of them quietly change their tune, and some even start saying they always believed in you. That's just how life works, man. No point getting upset about it. Just accept it and keep moving. Since we're already on the topic of family and the people around you, let's talk about one more thing, man, because it connects directly to who actually reaches the goal and who drops out halfway. The ones who quit usually expect that at some point the difficulty will end, that there'll be a moment when things get easy, and that's when they'll finally exhale. They measure progress by how much discomfort is left. Less difficulty means I am closer to the goal, they think. And when the difficulty doesn't end but just changes shape, they conclude that something's wrong, that they picked the wrong path, the wrong business, the wrong goal, and they quit. The ones who make it understand from the start that the difficulty never ends. It just changes shape. Today, the difficulty is learning a new skill. A year from now, the difficulty is managing a team that performs that skill for you. 5 years from now, the difficulty is not losing yourself once the result you were chasing finally arrives. Every level brings a new chain of difficulty, sized to match that level, man. And whoever understands this doesn't get thrown off by difficulty. They meet it calmly. Because they know, if difficulty showed up, it means I am moving forward, not standing still. Here is what I want you to take away from this video, man. The path to your goal only runs through difficulty. Choose it yourself. Don't wait for life to choose it for you. And while you are on the way, enjoy the process. Don't just wait for the finish line. If this hit home, hit like. It genuinely helps the channel grow. Subscribe to 4Men Mastery. More of this, harder and more to the point, is coming. And drop a comment. What difficulty are you choosing for yourself right now? And what difficulty are you just dragging around out of habit, just to stay afloat? See you in the next video, man. Talk soon.